But as a female comedian, it's so much harder than men because there's like women are not funny. Listen, you were birthed by a woman. She clearly had a sense of humor because she had you. So women are funny, you know? I think that's a very misogynistic thing to say. It's like, how can you say such things?
This is the True Hustle Podcast with your host, JR.
This is the True Hustle Podcast with your host, JR.
All right.
We got a very special guest, Nacya Marreiro.
Hey,
I said it right.
Perfect. I loved it. Yes.
Our first female at True Hustle Podcast. She's representing for the ladies. Bam! How are you?
I'm great. How are you? Thank you for having me.
I'm doing amazing. Thank you for stopping by. We really appreciate it. So, okay, what were we talking about earlier? About this, about the dolphins and the...
Oh, yeah. So you heard my story about... I mean, it's not story, it's science. That whales have threesomes. And then he said that whales are promiscuous like dolphins. And I said, not as promiscuous because dolphins actually can have sex with humans.
Wow.
I mean, you can go on the internet.
I did not know that.
I think they just hump. But I've heard stories of how do you call those people that they train dolphins and they work like at parks and stuff?
What do they call them, Bernie? I don't know.
Right?
They're trainers. They train
freaks, exactly. So, and they said that there was stories that they had a romantic relationship with a dolphin, and I'm like, how does that even happen? I mean,
wow. How do you? Yeah, they probably need a lot of help, right?
Yeah,
like, man, you got to get love from a dolphin. I don't know. That's crazy.
A dolphin cannot talk back. That's why.
So tell me a little bit about growing up in Portugal.
I grew up in a very strict household. Like my mom had me at 42.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
okay.
And she thought she had the menopause. And then it was like, oh no, you're pregnant. And she was like, ugh. You know, I used to be very upset how they raised me and be like, it was so unfair. And, you know, you didn't love me. You didn't have time enough for me and you beat me up. But now that I'm grown, if I worked my whole life and I already had a child and then at 42, I'm like, oh, you know, I'm close to retirement and now I'm pregnant, I'll be pissed too, you know?
Oh my God.
So I respect and I understand now.
Absolutely. She was 42.
Yeah. So
did you grow up with both of your parents?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. They're so in love with each other. It's disgusting.
So now that you grew up in Portugal and then you see once you came to LA, you got to experience different cultures.
Yeah.
And I'm Latino, I'm Mexican. So is there similarities between growing up there and that upbringing and then you see our culture? Is there a lot of similarities or
yes,
not really?
There's a lot of similarities. Actually, so I was a flight attendant until I was 25 and I lived in Abu Dhabi and I worked with a lot of cultures and I've noticed, and this is very strange to me, all type of Latin cultures, okay? Mm-hmm. It can be Latin America or even Italians because they are Latin too, right? Portuguese. And even Middle Easterns, they have a lot of similarities. They're great hosts. They're family people. They're always go beyond to help their friends, you know? Mm-hmm. I didn't understood when I first came to America. I lived in Texas. And if I met somebody I like even in the comedy world, girls, I'll be like, oh my God, come to my house and have dinner with me. And they're like, we don't do that here. Unless you want to... You don't invite people to your house to have dinner. And I was like, what does this mean? No, I mean, really, we're going to eat. You know, I didn't realize it was a flirty thing.
It was more intimate.
Yeah, I didn't realize that. So, but yeah.
Because in Portugal, it was more like, hey, come on in.
Yeah.
Let's have dinner. It's no big deal.
Yeah.
Drink some wine. And
yeah.
All right, you ate.
Have a good
go
one.
Home.
Yeah, that's it.
That's it.
There's nothing wrong with that. I know that in Latin culture, you have the chancla. We call it chinel. And my parents used the chinel. They used the belt. They used the wooden spoon. One time I hid the wooden... To this day, I can see wooden spoon.
You are Mexican.
Right? There you go. Maybe a little bit.
Maybe a little bit. Oh, man.
One time I hit a wooden spoon and my mom was like, oh, that's going to be worse for you. Wait until your dad gets home. That's like the worst sentence. To this day, I'm like, and I'm a grown woman.
Wow. So what do they say now that, because they're still in Portugal?
Yeah, everybody is. Yeah.
So what do they say about you being over here?
They hate it. They
Why?
won't, because they don't understand what I'm doing. They don't understand stand-up comedy. So when I tell them, like, I try to explain them very well. I was like, Dad, I used to watch these people on TV, and now I'm doing shows with them, and I'm doing stand-up comedy in my second language. And he's like, okay. Anyway, when are you coming? Like, they don't understand.
I don't think they're able to process it, because to them it's more a tradition, right? Over there,
Yeah.
just get a job. I mean, go to school. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how it is to grow up over there, but I would say that they're probably more traditional. Like, okay, just go get a career, get a job,
It
and
is.
that's it. So stand-up comedy is not your traditional
No.
career,
Yeah.
you know? So maybe they're having a hard time with that.
Stand-up comedy is also a new thing in Portugal. I think only like 5 years ago, people started doing stand-up comedy. It's not like, they had like comedic theater, but not really like plays, but not really stand-up comedy. I was talking to my dad yesterday, actually, and he was like, oh, you could open a nail salon and you can just be here with us, don't you want to have children and all this stuff. And I tried to explain this to him. I said, I'm not happy there. And he was very offended. And I said, look, do you know the feeling you get when a mosquito bites you, right? Mm-hmm. And you want to scratch it off. Like, I'm like, oh, I just want to scratch it so hard. I want to take my skin off where. And when I'm in Portugal, I love Portugal. I love the people. I have really great friends that do anything for me. I love the food. I love, the beach, everything. But every time I'm there, I feel that hitch. And it bothers me so much. I feel like I'm not in the right place. So I'm trying. I don't feel that hitch here. I feel like I'm in the right path, even though things are really hard.
They were more complicated than back home.
I just don't feel like I'm in the right place there. I feel like it's not for me.
Okay. Because of the career path? Because of comedy?
Career path, yeah.
Because right here, comedy's big.
Yeah.
And you said that over there is not big.
Yeah.
So if you do go back, it's like you feel that you're not going to pursue your passion or your career,
Yeah.
right? So which it makes sense. And that shouldn't be going off. Good job, Bernie. Wow.
Only pick up if it's a booty call.
Yeah. Good job, Bernie. So when did you realize, like, okay, I'm pretty funny, I want to be a comedian, and I'm going to pursue this?
So when I was 18, I was living in Norway, and I was working really hard, and I was really depressed because in Norway, it's like 6 months of the year, it's dark. And then, and it was like you wake up, it's dark, you go to bed, like it's always dark. And then 6 months is like sunny. And it's just a culture, everything is different, and everything is really expensive, even more than LA. And I went to this talent show with a friend of mine, and she's like, hey, if you go up there and you tell one of your funny stories, I'll pay you drinks for the rest of the night. And I was like, that seems like a good deal. So
Free drinks?
I went there.
Count me in.
I started well, but then I bombed horribly. And I was like, I kind of, for the first time, I feel good about this. I feel like, you know what I mean? It's like if you go on a roller coaster and there's all these different emotions, and then you're like, oh, I want to do that again. Like, I felt like, is this the thing for me? And then I start doing more. I start going to all the open mics, and I start actually performing. And then at 21, I got a job in Etihad to be a flight attendant. So I took advantage of that. So every time I travel, I would see like, oh, I'm going to go to DC. Let me see what shows can I do here. I'm going to go to LA. Let me see. So I did that, and I felt really good about that. But I never really thought about coming to America.
It was just, if I stop by because of my job, I'm going to go do a set.
Yeah. So when I moved to America, and like I started getting these opportunities, and I had a show, and I started having these big people on my show, and they were like, you're really funny. I didn't thought you were funny, you know? And I was like, what do you mean? And they're like, you know, you just don't look like you're funny, but you are funny. And I'm like, okay, whatever. It's just because you were focused on my boobs. But anyway, so that's what made me feel like, oh, I can do something with this. I'm going to try. I'm going to see where this takes me, you know?
And what challenges? Because you're in a predominantly male industry, right? There's a lot of male comedians. So how many, see, there it is. What challenges did you have to go through? Like,
I mean, all the challenges that women that work in male dominant environment have to go through. It's like, first of all, I think people judge me a lot based on my looks, which I don't understand, because where I come from, you can have it all. Like, I can see there's so many men who are attractive and they're funny. But if there's a woman who's attractive and she's funny, it's like, oh my God, she's funny? It's like, it's not my fault you can't multitask. You can look and listen. You know, that should be a plus. I love women that look good and do comedy. I love men that look good and do comedy. I love men who don't look good and do comedy. Everything, you know, there's a specific thing for everything. But I feel like people judge that a lot, like looks. It's my second language. And I feel like nobody takes into consideration that. They're like, oh yeah, you get booked a lot. And I'm like, yeah, I've been doing comedy for 10 years in 2 different languages. Can you go to Europe and start doing comedy in Portuguese or Italian?
Oh.
Right? But
damn, what's the response to that?
Nothing, because I feel like I speak very direct, and that can come across as me being rude sometimes, but I don't mean it as being rude. I think only people who feel threatened think that I'm rude, but I'm really nice.
You are nice, but being direct is good.
Yeah. I think, of course, language barrier. I feel like a lot of people treat comedy as a competition, which for me is strange. I cannot hang out with people who see it as a competition, because that's unhealthy. Comedy is not like acting. If I go act and there's a Latin role and there's like, oh, we want the girl that looks like Sofia Vergara. I'm like, okay, I look like the Walmart version of Sofia Vergara. So I know, and there's other girls who do too. So there is competition in that. Mm-hmm. But with comedy, everybody has a different story. So how is there competition? Right?
That's a great point. Absolutely. Man.
Language barrier. I cannot really say community, because you do have to find your tribe. And as an immigrant, it's slightly harder, because it's like, I don't know any Portuguese. And then like, I do speak Spanish, but I'm not Spanish. So it's hard.
Spanish?
Yeah. Yo hablo un poquito, pero no muy bien. Sí.
¿Te gustan tacos de asada o al pastor?
Me gusta de asada.
Oh,
sí.
Man. Okay. Oh. So you speak 3 languages?
Yeah. I speak some French too, but not very good. Just basic.
4, 5. I speak 2.
There
Jesus. Look at you, girl.
You know it.
Wow. Okay. So doing comedy here in the United States versus doing comedy in Portugal.
Yeah.
Which one is more difficult for you?
I think in Portugal.
Why?
Because I identify more with this culture and language now. Because I feel like I only did comedy in Portugal once in September, and I wrote like 5 minutes overnight because I was just like, I have to go and try it, because they invited me, and I was like, I'm like, why not? I like to do things where I can fail, because it means I'm growing, right? Yes. I like to get out of my comfort zone. So I did that, and the whole system, how they do the shows, were so weird. They had like a host, 15-minute break, a comedian, 10-minute break. I'm like, what is this? Bathroom breaks? I don't understand. So yeah, I went up and I just had fun. And I think people were kind of like overwhelmed with me too, which was very strange. And I felt like, oh, I don't belong here anymore. Like, my stories don't make sense here. And then I was having a meeting with the owner of the comedy club, because he wanted me to come more often, ironically. And and this old guy, I say old because his hair is gray. Also, he was rude, so I'm calling him old. And he is like, next time will be better. And I look at him, and there's so much stuff I want to say, because I'm like, I'm like in Portugal, so I can say whatever I want, right? It's like I'm in my country, so I really want to be like, who the fuck you talking to? But I was like, no, because I'm grown now. I don't work in that frequency anymore. So I'm petty, but with class. So I just go.
I like that.
Right?
Like
so I
that.
just go, oh, it wasn't good for you? It's okay. You can just watch my special on YouTube in English. Anyway. I feel like that's like if nobody asks your opinion, you shouldn't give it. No matter what it is. Clothes, hair, work, you know. I already have to listen to my parents' opinions that I didn't ask. Why would I listen to strangers? I don't even listen
like
myself.
If I didn't ask, don't say shit.
Exactly.
Basically. Is there any specific comedians that you were like looking up to when you first started comedy?
Yes.
Any female?
Yes.
Which ones?
So this is funny because I used to watch all these videos from Laugh Factory on YouTube. And I used to watch Tiffany Haddish because I really like her story. And I really like that she's like a hustler and she's a badass and she still keeps that little spark, that little kindness. Because she looks kind and sweet, right? And which is funny because I did a show with her. And on 4th of July, I was stuck in traffic to go to this party. And I'm in a car with my friend. And I look and there's Tiffany parked. And I'm like, and I had a dirty martini. If I was sober, if I didn't drink anything, I would be like, oh my God. But because I had a dirty martini, I felt courageous. And I put the window down and I go, hey, Tiff. And she's like, and I'm like, do you remember me? We did a show together. And she goes, yeah, I remember you, the Portuguese girl, right? And I'm like, yeah. And I go, hold up. And then my friend's like, pull over. And I'm like, well, we've been for so long in the traffic, but whatever. It's Tiffany Haddish. I have to pull over. So I pull over and she got out of the car. She gave me a hug. I gave her my phone number. And now she's doing my show at the Hollywood Improv, August 22nd, 7:30. The Riff, Improv stand-up.
Bam, 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 bam. That deserves that. How does that feel?
Feels amazing.
Like you looked up to her.
I know.
And now you guys, damn.
I like that. It makes me really happy. And it's really cool of her that she's doing my show too. She could have been like, no. She's a star. And she was like, okay. So that makes me really happy.
I really like the movie Keanu.
Me too.
Where she comes out. That's just funny.
It is.
I like her.
I mean, she's funny every time.
Yeah.
I think she's one of those people that you just look and you start laughing just because she's funny. She has this like, she's like sexy, gorgeous, and funny and kind and all this stuff in one. And I just really look up to that, you know?
When is the show?
August 22nd at 7:30 p.m. at the Hollywood Improv.
We got to go. So put it
Oh, yeah. Come.
Yeah.
I'll put you guys on the list.
Hell yeah. We got to go.
I have a really good lineup. I have Ron G.
Okay.
I have Jack Jr. I have Brittany Ferlin Lee, and then Tiffany Haddish, and me, of course.
All right. We'll be there. Hell yeah. We'll be there.
Hell yeah.
We got to go support.
I like that.
That's
Thank
pretty
you.
dope. So, any male comedians that you were like, oh man, that guy's funny? Like, this is...
I used to watch as well because I didn't know anything about stand-up comedy back when I was in Portugal. So I would just put YouTube videos from Laugh Factory. And another one that I met was Adam Ray. And he's my friend now, which is really cool. He's been very supportive in my career.
Cool. Any Latino ones?
Unfortunately, no. Because at the time, this was like back in the day at the time, I really only watched Laugh Factory. And it was like the always same repeated videos, you know? So
no. That's okay.
No.
It's okay. I mean, we're starting to come up now.
Yes.
Now you see more. Now you see more of the of comedy on Instagram, and then that's transforming into them being on stage. Like, how helpful has this social media stuff helped you in your career?
it was different because I think the algorithm at a point loved me, and they shared like this video of me talking about Latin moms. Did you see that one?
No, I didn't see it.
So it's this joke where I say, Latin moms lie for no reason. My mom would tell me stuff like, hey, don't turn on the lights inside the car. We'll get a ticket. Okay? Don't take a shower and go to bed with your hair wet. You'll get a stroke. All right? This is your real father. So that was the joke. And you saw that one and you went, I even had Lenny Kravitz liking that video. I was
No
like,
way.
oh my God, take me for a trip.
Oh, shit. I didn't see it. And then that one blew up, or did you get...
No, that one blew up.
Okay.
Yeah, and then I put like 3 or 4 more videos and that blew up too. And then I usually don't film myself doing stand-up comedy, which is bad. I'm going to start doing it more. I just hate seeing myself on camera. I don't know why. I'm just like, what happened? Am I that short? Like, I don't know. I feel like a lion, but then I look in the mirror and it's like, is that a chihuahua? I don't get it.
Dude, I don't like seeing myself on camera either.
Yeah.
Then you start criticizing yourself. Like, oh,
Yeah, it's awful.
Man, I need to run more. Looking kinda.
Right?
And then I'm like, man, the camera adds 10 pounds. So
It does.
yeah. So
Before,
that's my justification. So I got to start. Now I'm starting to run more. So
well, you look great.
you know, thank
It's
you so
interesting
much.
how I got here and I'm like, can I unbutton my pants? These jeans are tight.
Hey, whatever you're comfortable with. No
Right?
big deal. So I have this question, right? I go to a lot of comedy shows because I love comedy, right? But I see everybody's into the actual show. There's not a lot of recording going on. And I see in like concerts and stuff like that, everybody's recording. Like, how do you feel being on that stage and everybody's just like zoomed in and focused on what you're doing? Like, how would you describe that feeling?
Well, first of all, you're not allowed to film or take pictures.
Okay. Well, that's why nobody's filming then.
Yeah. It's very strange because it's like I'm somebody else. Because when I'm just me, I don't, if I go to a party that I don't like parties, but if I go, I just stay in the corner and I have really bad social anxiety. And if somebody comes and talks to me, like my eyes start switching. I'm like, what's happening? It's very, I get very, like, I forget how to talk. Yesterday, the bartender asked me, because I went out for dinner with a friend of mine. He asked me if I what did I want to drink? And I stuttered saying dirty martini. Why? I don't know. It's not hard to say. I don't know what it is. But when I'm on stage, there's no stuttering. When I'm up there, I feel like it's my world. And even if I just had a guest spot, I act like all of those people came to see me.
Wow.
Yeah.
So up there, it's like you're free.
Yeah, I feel free. Yeah.
And then you go to a party and you're in the corner and you're like, oh, hell no, this is too much going on.
Yeah. It's like when you're home and you have like good music and you're dancing, but then you go to a club and you don't dance. That's how I feel. It just feels, I kind of feel overwhelmed. Well, yeah. Once I did drugs by mistake. I roofied myself. What happened was I was with a friend of mine. I got to this party at a rooftop because my friend is a DJ and he was like, you have to come. I'm like, you don't understand. I don't go out. And he's like, no, just come and have fun. You never know, you can meet. This is LA. I was like, ugh. Okay. So he's DJing and I look like a prostitute because I have a really sexy dress. and I'm just in a corner like this. Right? And he goes, are you okay? Relax. And I'm like, I have social anxiety. Like, I just feel uncomfortable. I think I'm going to go home. And he goes, just stay here like 15 minutes more, okay? Just, you'll grab another drink. You'll be fine. And I'm like, ugh, okay. Whatever. I go, do you have a mint? My mouth is dry. He hands me a mint box. All the mints are white. There's one that's slightly bigger and pink. Any normal person would be like, I'm going to take one of the whites. Not me. I was like, what is this pink one? Oh, strawberry in my head. It's a strawberry one. So I ate it and it tasted like shit. I didn't want to be rude. I swallow it because that's what nice people do. And what happened was, I'm like, I started feeling so good. You know when you just got paid and you have that feeling, oh man, I'm going to go to McDonald's. That's how I felt. I was like,
number 2, please, king size.
Right? I was like,
size.
damn, I feel so good. Like, I feel blessed. I feel like I'm aligned with the universe and my journey. I'm like, this is the shit. You know what I mean?
What kind of mint is this?
Right? And I leave my drink. I'm like, I shouldn't leave my drink, but I'm not going to drink it anymore. I don't need this. I don't need to drink. And I'm like dancing, and there's all these pretty girls dancing with me, and I just feel like I got this shit, you know? And I see my friend, my DJ friend, I look at him to be like, hey, I'm good. And he's like this. Are you okay? Are you okay? And I'm like, yeah, I'm great. And he goes, come here. And he's like, did you took my ecstasy? And I'm like, why the fuck would I take your ecstasy? I ate the strawberry mint. That tastes like shit, by the way. And he goes, Nacya, that's ecstasy. Just don't drink any more alcohol and drink water. And I'm like, I'm feeling amazing. I was up until 6 a.m. I went to all the clubs. He's like, I'm dead. I'm going to go home. I'm like, no, motherfucker. This is your fault. Take me to another club, and another club, and another club.
Until this shit wears out.
Yeah, I couldn't feel my little pinky toe anymore with my high heels. I was like, we good.
Well, you were gliding, huh?
Yeah, I was getting it.
And your eyes were all dilated?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
I felt great.
You felt amazing, though.
I'm like, is this what happiness feels like? I like that.
Oh, man. That must have been funny. You want to hear a funny story?
Yes.
I got roofied. By accident. Let me tell you what happened.
Yes, I want to know.
Back in the days. I was young, clubbing, whatever. I went to this club, and me and my friend walk in, and there's some girls there, right? Like, right in the entrance. There was just nothing but girls. So we walk in, you know, hey, what's up? Long story short, they're like, here, have a drink.
Oh, they gave you.
And then I'm like, all right, cool. I drank that beer, and I don't remember shit. Like, I remember, well, I kind of do. So I went and I sat down and I fell asleep. So my friend had to pick me up and they had to take me home. So I've never felt like that in my life. Well, it's nuts, right? So after further investigation, those drinks were given to those girls. I saved somebody's life by default.
Just one question for you.
Yes.
How did your butthole felt?
Normal.
Because you did fall asleep.
But it's like I was asleep, but it was just a weird feeling. So,
God.
But I'm gonna stick to my story, and I saved somebody's life.
You did.
I saved a girl from who knows what would have happened to that. But it's like that's a real story.
I don't know. It's just crazy to me. Every time I got my drink, I'm always like this. And I see it getting done because you never know.
Yeah, and to me, I was like, damn, dude. Like, yeah, I just remember like, hey, get up. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, this is crazy. So
I'm glad you're okay.
Yeah, I'm glad too.
Yeah.
I mean, I was like 20. But still, like, you know, but what if it would have happened to...
Yeah, no.
You know, I was with my friends, so they were like, the fuck? What's wrong with this guy? Falling asleep here. It's like, dude, we just got here. Like,
yeah.
I was like,
but
dude.
they realized that was strange of you too, which is good.
Absolutely. I'm a big dude. There's no one beer going to do that.
Yeah. So, crazy.
Yeah. So your show's coming up. Mm-hmm. And that's amazing.
Thank you.
And you don't get nervous every time you go up there?
Of course I do.
How do you deal with those nerves?
I twerk. So like especially if I see like somebody like killing it, or somebody bombing. Because I have bad social anxiety and I have bad anxiety, but when that happens, those few times I feel really nervous to a point that I can't control my body. So I go to the DJ and I'm like, hey, give me something I can shake my ass to. And because it's so out of my comfort zone that if I break the ice like that, I control my body. It's like me telling my body, hey, chill, okay? So, yeah. I got late. I just came from Vegas and I did a show in Vegas and I was late because I didn't sleep well. I thought it was another time, whatever. I misunderstood the time. Okay, it happens. And I go to the DJ and I run there and the booker's pissed. And then the guy who got me was like, Nacya. And I'm like, I didn't mean it. And then this other guy, I had my drink and he spilled my drink with his big ass. And I'm just like stressed at this point, right? And I go to the DJ and I'm like, give me something for me to shake my ass to. And he starts freaking out. He's like, I'm like, dude, it's just a song. I go, just choose whatever song you want. And he's like, I don't know. And I'm like, I didn't give you a grocery list. I just said, give me a song, you know. But yeah, dancing helps, even though I never dance unless I'm on a strawberry mint.
Man, those strawberry mints kick in. So, oh man. Yeah, I don't want to take no strawberry mints. I'll be dancing all night. Oh my God.
The next time I take a strawberry mint will be in my wedding day. Whenever I get married.
Is that gonna happen soon? Are you?
No, I'm trying to collect. First, marriage is for practice. Second, we'll see. Second, you know, I can't talk much because it's gonna go to the internet. But, you know.
So, do you date Latinos? Like, are you?
I mean, you know, I don't really have a type. I get very attracted by how people behave, like in their personality. Obviously, I like funny people, but I thought I was a bad judge of character, but I was just kind. My gut knows what's right and what's wrong, so I just follow that. But yeah, I go by personality. I've dated ugly guys because they were just amazing.
Great personality?
I even in LA, I dated some women because they were so amazing. They're so amazing, and you know, I get to wear their shoes and makeup, so I'm saving money on top of that. You know?
Oh my God, that's funny.
Yeah.
Do you date short guys?
I'm short.
So you would be okay with it?
No. This is the thing. I'm not picky, but it's by vibes and personality, but I don't date men with small hands. I don't know, I have something with that. Does that make sense?
He's your type then. Look at this guy.
No, your hand's not small. I meant like
Look at that guy.
I meant small hands.
Oh, fuck. Look at this guy.
No, those hands are not
giant.
small. Right? But yeah.
So, do you date any other comedians? Like
No.
if a comedian would be like, hey,
No.
let's go out.
No.
Why not?
Because I don't shit where I eat. Yeah.
Smart.
Yeah. And then we break up and I have to see them again and all this
You
stuff.
have to perform.
It's just awkward. And then everybody's going to know that I don't want to do that. Yeah.
That's interesting.
It would have to, unless it was like really, and I would if it was a really amazing person and it was like very mature. But you never know because people change in different levels of their life, like stages of their life. I would never date a famous comedian because then whatever I get, they're like, oh, it's because of him. I don't want that. I don't want to be the girlfriend of. I want to be Nacya,
but
the
what
comedian.
about if he's really sweet and nice and he really likes you? Then
No.
You still won't?
No. I don't want to do that. You would have to do a lot of sacrifices for me to date him. Because it's my career. Like, I've left everything I know. I left my family, my friends, my culture. For what? To be associated with a big name that I'm someone else's woman? I don't want to be under anybody's wing but my own.
So you want to create your own.
Yeah.
That's something to respect. Absolutely.
Thank you.
So when you first started doing comedy and you would get on stage, you would the first time you actually went on, did you bomb?
Yeah.
And how did you react to that?
I was like, whatever, you guys not drunk enough.
And it made you feel like, oh, fuck.
Oh, it felt awful. To this day, it feels awful. But I try to be kind to myself. I've been learning to be kind to myself because I'm very, like, critical. And then I'm like, why am I doing this? Like, da-da-da-da. And then if I just stop and I'm like, what did I learn from this? Why did I bombed? Was because of my delivery? Was because the crowd is not my type of crowd? Was because I didn't address them? Was because I just throw material out? Like, I try to understand what did I do wrong?
So everything was a learning experience.
Yeah.
So it's not like you're beating yourself over it. Like,
No.
hey, it is what it is. I won't do this again.
Yeah.
Because I don't know how I would take that. You know, like.
It feels like shit. And the worst thing is, like, you get off stage and then you see people you admire and they're just like,
Oh, that must suck.
and you're like, hey, showbiz, baby. You know what I mean? Showbiz, baby. I don't, like, before I used to over-explain myself and da-da-da. I don't even care. I used to hide. I had somebody who's very famous saying, you should hide your body when you do comedy because it's distracting. And I'm like, and I used to be like, okay, But if I go on stage with sweats or whatever it is, or like a t-shirt or hiding, I don't feel myself. I dress like this because it's for myself. This is my armor. I feel good. And my crowd will like this. Women and men. So if they don't like it, I'm not going to change who I am. I will just try and write better and understand what I can do better stage-wise.
So you have to feel 100%.
Yeah.
If you go up there and you're like taking other people's advice on, hey, do this or do that, and you don't feel 100%, then you won't perform at 100%.
Exactly.
So which makes sense.
Yeah.
Girl, you wear what you want.
Exactly.
Shit.
You be you, boo-boo. Yeah, I don't even care about, like, I try not to see who's on the show, and I try not to look at the crowd until I get on stage.
And when you do, okay, so when you have an amazing set, everybody's like, oh my God, so you feel amazing.
Yeah.
But you know right away when like, I didn't do so well. Because when you walk, then people are like,
Not just because of that, like it's about energy and it's about reading a room, right?
Absolutely.
So if you don't do well, you know. I think only people who are delusional do bad and think they did great. It's like...
Every time that I go to a show and I feel somebody that's not performing, I'm like, I wonder what's going through their mind right now.
Yeah. Sometimes it's just like they had a bad day or they're not present, because sometimes they have a set and they're just throwing out jokes and they're not actually there. And I feel like a crowd, they're like dogs. They can smell it. You can see if somebody's having fun. You can see if somebody's just throwing up jokes. You know what I mean? You can understand that.
Yeah, you're right. And I just try to like, I just try to be like, put myself in their shoes. Like, what would I do if I was up there?
Yeah.
And like, you're cracking jokes and they're not laughing.
Yeah.
So do you have to pivot and be like, okay, I got to switch it up?
Yeah. That's how you learn. That's how you become a better comedian. You have to fail. Maybe like, I've seen people who just like, even me, where I know my jokes are not going to work. They're not going to listen. So I'm going to do crowd work. And thank God, because of my show, I became way better with that. Because my show, it's about improv. So, I don't know. I'm just talking about my experience.
That's good. So you're the host of The Riff.
Yeah.
And how did that come about?
So I was a big fan of Comedy Without a Net, which is like improv show where comedians take suggestions from the crowd and then they riff on it. So my show is, first of all, that's an improv game, right? It's not like, so my show has a big wheel and there's 3 options on this wheel. There's number 1, which is crowd suggestions. So everybody in the crowd writes 3 to 4 suggestions, whatever they want. And we put it on the number 1 bucket. There's number 2, which is comedians in a lineup suggestions. Same thing. Then there's number 3, which is tell a story. So the comedian comes on stage, they spin the wheel, and then they have to riff on whatever lands on. So if it's number 1, they take suggestions for bucket number 1, that's crowd. If it's number 2, suggestions for bucket number 2, that's comedians in a lineup. If it lands on 3, that is tell a story, like, you know. And it's good because you get a lot of material from that. And I've noticed that, first of all, even if you saw Tiffany Haddish yesterday and you have a chance to go see her at the Improv at my show, it's not going to be the same because it's an improv show. And I feel like people get very focused on the comedians and they're a little bit kinder. You know what I mean? Because they're like, oh my God, they're just doing this right there and then, like out of the blue. It's not something people wrote before. You know?
So it just comes out like a freestyle.
Yeah, exactly. And it helped my English a lot too.
Really?
Yeah.
How?
Because I was capable to think faster. And I used to be very insecure with my English and just be like, does this word exist or whatever? And I used to ask people. Now I don't. And even if I say something wrong or I pronounce things wrong, like aluminium or whatever it is, I don't feel uncomfortable anymore. I'm just like, it's a charm. I don't give a shit.
Okay.
But yeah.
Because English is your second language.
Yeah. And I learned it from Cartoon Network. So
no way.
I really did. I used to watch Cartoon Network. My parents didn't let me go anywhere. I live in the dungeon. Okay. They would just put Cartoon Network on and I would be watching Cartoon Network all my summers. So
Wow.
you can
That's how you really learned English?
It
Like-
really helped. It really helped. And then
So-
I worked in a water park when I was a teenager with a bunch of tourists.
So you didn't take like any like Rosetta Stone or anything like
no,
that?
I didn't. No.
So
no,
you
no.
literally just learned it from TV, from interacting with other people?
Yeah. Like in school,
Wow.
we had some English, but it was very basic, like, hello, how are you? And stuff like that. Like just table, cup. Like it was not strong enough to make conversation. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
But you can test me and ask me about any cartoons on Cartoon Network. I know.
So is that the same way you learn Spanish?
No, I just learned it because it's very similar. It's very similar to Portuguese. But it takes me a little bit to warm up. So I never say I speak Spanish. I say I speak Portuñol. That it's Portuguese with Spanish. Yeah.
Oh, wow. How do you say true hustle in Portuguese?
True hustle. I don't think there's a exact.
Because it's slang, right? Hustle.
Yeah. So for example, I tattooed this on my arm because it's something that people used to say to me growing up. Literally translated means blood in a gill. But if I want to translate that to English, it doesn't make sense. But it's the exact same meaning that when you say take the bull by the horns.
It's like
Yeah.
saying some things in Spanish that you can't translate in English because now
Yeah.
it sounds weird,
Yeah.
but it has a meaning. It has
Yeah.
like the same meaning.
Yeah. And Portuguese, they always say things in a weird manner, They say things like, why would be in English, take the bull by the horns makes sense, right? Mm-hmm. La buta.
Absolutely.
I don't even know what that means.
This is for the translation.
Oh, yeah?
La buta? For what? For true hustle?
For hustle.
For
Oh.
hustle? I think it would be more luta. Luta, Luta.
Luta.
Yeah.
In the house.
But Portuguese, you know what's funny about Portuguese? They say shit that don't make sense, but everybody knows what it means. So like, why would blood in a gill means that you're a badass? Because it means like you fight. Like, I got blood in a gill. Like, I'm a badass, right? They would say things like, there's no translation to this one either. I'm trying to think about funny sayings that the Portuguese say. Olha, estás aqui, estás ali, which means, listen, you are here, but in a little bit, you're going to be there. That means you're about to get your ass beat.
Oh, shit.
Yeah,
I need to memorize that.
yeah. Or like, queres ver, which means, oh, you want to see?
Wow.
Yeah,
I'm going to have to rewind this and take notes
Mm-hmm.
so I could learn some Portuguese.
there you go. Luta, right?
Would you ever go back to Portugal and live there permanently?
I think maybe retire. Like, I'm going to see what this has to look, this is a hustle, right? It's so difficult. LA is so expensive. Like, I'm walking dogs. People will see me on stage and the next day I'm walking their dog.
Just to pay rent. Oh, this is
I don't
expensive.
get- it is what it is, baby. Listen, I'm gonna do what I gotta do. Not really, but in an ethical way.
Yeah,
I don't wanna
absolutely.
be on TV and be like, oh yeah, she used to do this or that. And there's nothing wrong with whatever it is that you do. But, I love dogs and walking dogs is fine.
You're going to catch me at the Improv for tomorrow at 7 a.m.
I'm walking your
I'm
dog.
walking your dog.
Tip
So
me.
what? In style. Boom.
Exactly.
Give me a tip. So there's no way that unless you retire, you'll go
I
back.
think I want to see where can I go with my career. I have some promising things happening, and if they go through, it's going to be good.
Do you think comedy will lead you into acting, and would it be something?
It already did.
No way.
Yeah, I got 2 movies out, but it's little movies. I have a short movie.
Which ones?
I have a short movie that won the best indie romantic comedy called Down Way to Mexico. I actually play a Mexican lady.
No way.
Yeah, and I'm cursing. I'm cursing at this white guy. It's fun.
In Spanish?
Yeah,
Oh, we got to see it.
yeah.
Okay.
And then I have another one that I'm not gonna talk about because they didn't pay me. So
Okay. Now they didn't pay you, then fuck that.
yeah,
We don't want to hear about it.
exactly.
We want to make sure you get paid.
Thank you. Pay your artists.
Exactly. Oh man, this is pretty interesting stuff. I'm super into like cultures.
Mm-hmm.
So, what other similarities like does the Portuguese culture have like with the Mexican culture?
Okay, so family, it's very important. I downloaded the 23andMe app. Every week I have a new cousin. And
She is Mexican.
and food is very important. Like if somebody in America, like if somebody offers you food and you don't eat it, like it's okay. In Portugal, if my mom gives you a plate of food and you say no, she's like, I don't like that person. Don't bring them home ever again. I'm like, Mom, they were not hungry. Oh, no. If you say no to my mom and say, oh, I'm good, she'll bring you food. That's a very Latin Mexican thing too.
Man, my mom's going to offer you something to eat every 5 minutes.
My mom too.
Like, man, I told you no once. Now it's twice. Now it's 3 times. Like, okay,
Yeah,
I'll eat it.
exactly. That, I feel like personality-wise, like kindness, I feel like I really like Latin women because they are very tough, but at the same time very kind. And it took me a while to understand that with my mom because I thought, I thought I was adopted at some point. I'm like, I don't feel loved. Like everything is always in a rush. They're always mad at me. It's always like, call me names, beat me up, and just like being fucking weird to me. I felt awful. And then now that I look back, it's like because they were working so hard to provide for me and give me a good life,
Yeah, and that's a common thing in like the Latino community
as well. Yeah,
Yeah,
I see
big
that
time.
a lot.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Like they're gonna beat us up.
Yeah,
They're gonna scream, beat us up, whatever, the whole nine, and then they'll give you a hug.
I know.
And then like okay, like
Do you know what my dad would do?
what?
So my mom would be so pissed at me, and then my dad would come because he does whatever she wants, and he would beat the shit out of me and just be like, I don't know, for whatever it was, because I answered back because I didn't make my bed, and he would never apologize. He would never apologize to me, but then he would make me my favorite food.
That's their way of apologizing.
Yeah,
They'll be like, "Oh, you mother, boom, boom, boom,"
yeah.
and then like, "Hey, do you want some?
Do you want some food?
You want some pollo loco?
Here's some steak,
Pollo loco, okay, all right." And that's their way of apologizing.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I miss my family a lot. I think that's the hardest thing. I feel, I don't know, the same demeanor that Portuguese have, I see that a lot in Latin. Just like being kind and like positive and hardworking and just like really like, it's okay, you're fine. It's just like that positivity while at the same time being really tough. I really like that.
Yeah, it's very structured.
Yeah.
And sometimes the machismo is out of control, like on the men's side.
Yeah.
But
we have that too.
Yeah. So, but, like, it's like, they're tough, they're this or that, but they're also going to be loving. You're never going to go hungry because they'll make it happen. They work.
Yeah.
They work no matter what. They're going to work, provide. You're going to have a roof over your head. And that's just what they do.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes we don't understand things as kids.
Yeah.
But as we get older, I'm like, man, how would I be handling that?
Exactly. I cannot imagine. My mom had me at 42. She had me without any drugs, without anything. Yeah, she just had me naturally.
Oh.
And yeah.
A natural birth?
Yeah.
No epidural? No nothing?
No,
At 42?
Yeah.
Salute.
Yeah, because she
Wow.
said she thought it would be bad for the baby. She was like, "Oh, this is like drugs are bad for the baby and all this stuff." And she already had a high risk
Pregnancy because of her age.
Yeah. So she gave me my stage name is Nacya and my nickname, but my real first name is Nacya. And when she found out she was pregnant, the doctor was like, don't fall in love with this idea of the baby because even if you fall on the street, you can lose a baby. This is a very high risk pregnancy. And she made some promise to some saint that it's called Inácio or Inácia, that if I survived, that would be my name. But my dad was like, fuck no. Like, don't name her Inácia. I was supposed to be Andrea, right?
Okay.
And then she goes, I did it without him anyway. Who's giving birth? Me. So she put the name Inácio without my dad's consent.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a Mexican name.
It is. But you don't have Inácia. You have Ignacio.
Ignacio.
And I have Inácia. And you know what's cool? Do you know what that name comes from the Latin origin Latin, means ignite, fire, fierce.
Damn.
Can you feel the spice?
That's why when you go on stage, you be spicy shit up.
Yeah.
And you be
There you
making
go.
everybody laugh. And hey, so what? Fuck you guys.
I
you know?
hated. That's true. I hated the name because that's an old people's name, isn't it? In
Ignacio, yes.
Yeah, I hated it so much. But then when I've learned the story, my mom told me this, and I've learned where it comes from. I'm like, okay, that's badass. I like that.
Yeah, because you get to be on stage and ignite shit.
Yeah,
Make it happen.
exactly.
That's dope. So, so then you got any, okay, we know about your show. So any other projects that you're working
Oh
on?
shit, I got so much stuff. You
Let
ready?
it out. This is where you let it all out. This is where you ignite.
This is where we're gonna ignite this shit.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm doing the Ice House Comedy Club July 8th at 8 p.m. Laugh Factory Long Beach July 12th, 8 p.m. West Side Theater in Santa Monica July 13, 8 p.m. Laugh Factory July 13, 9 p.m. Quake's House at the Kevin Hart Radio July 18, 1 p.m. And I'm going to go to Montreal, Canada to do the Zoo Fest. I'm opening for the Lucas Brothers 20 through 28.
Damn, girl, you stay booked.
You know why? True hustle.
Damn. How is it working with Kevin Hart? Or is it, do you work with him directly? Is it just part of his?
It's just part. I'm at the Kevin Hart Radio.
Okay.
For Sirius XM, but I've been doing a lot Quake's House, the Quake, the comedian. He's a great comedian, yeah.
What's your goals like in comedy? Like I want to know how.
I think
how you.
I think my biggest goal, I would love to be in an iconic sitcom. Like acting and writing, it would be perfect. I would love to tour, and headline. Of course, I feel like I'm closer to that now. Really acting makes me feel really happy. I think the thing with comedy is that I get to be who I want to be. Mm-hmm. And with acting, I get to give life to other characters, which is so much fun as well.
Do you have to go to acting school or is something that you already developed?
I think, look, I don't want to sound cocky. But I always loved acting, and I was always in all the plays, even though we didn't really had acting classes back in school. And my dad is a chef, and he has a tiny little restaurant, and he used to be so busy, stressed out and sweating. And I used to go there and try to make him laugh. And he would always say, "You're an artist," but I don't think he actually understood what that meant. But I did acting classes, but my favorite thing is to improvise. That's my favorite thing.
All right.
Yeah.
So that would be a dream come true then, huh?
For sure.
Would you write the whole, do you think, how difficult would it be to write a whole movie? And then you improvise all your little, all the Nacya touches on it. Do you think you could write a whole script?
Yeah, I think I could. But I have ADHD, so I couldn't write it by myself. Because I'm
I have ADHD.
Yeah,
too.
it's like you're a computer with 16 tabs open. It's so hard to stay focused.
Yeah, that's a good analogy right there.
Yeah.
So, okay. And if for all the female comedians, upcoming comedians that are out there listening, what advice would you give them?
Just work hard, be yourself, don't listen to nobody. Or maybe do with a little pinch of salt. How do you Americans say it?
Oh, the little sea salt. Boom.
Yeah, just be yourself. Do this for the right reasons, and that it's because you love making people laugh and you have a story to tell and it makes you happy. You're not going to be famous being a comedian. I don't think nowadays everybody who's a famous comedian, they've done something else like SNL, big podcasts, movies, or whatever it is. I don't think you just become famous from just doing comedy anymore.
Think you venture out into different things?
Yeah, you have to go to other things too.
So you think comedy is just one stepping stone to different things?
I don't see comedy as a stepping stone.
Okay.
I see comedy as the whole thing. But as a female comedian, it's so much harder than men, because there's like women are not funny. Listen, you were birthed by a woman. She clearly had a sense of humor because she had you. So women are funny, you know? I think that's a very misogynistic thing to say. It's like, how can you say such things?
You're right.
There's a lot of men who are not funny too. There's a lot of men that don't know how to fry an egg. You know, as a woman, I'm not going to be like, of course he's a man. He cannot even fry an egg. Like, you don't do that. Just level up. You know what I mean?
That's what's up.
Yeah.
I got daughters. So
Yeah.
I got to make sure they listen to that.
Of course. You can be whoever you want to be. Just do what feels right.
Do what feels right and do it for the right reasons.
Yeah.
It's basically.
And nobody would people, no matter what people say. My family, they don't know what the fuck I'm doing. They don't understand it. Do I care? Sometimes. Do I cry in the shower? Maybe. But, you know, this makes me happy. And this is my life, not their life. So I have to live it. Because you know something? I saw in Portugal once this old lady. She was drunk. She had a couple glasses of wine. And she was like, I didn't do anything of what I wanted. I wanted to be an actress. I wanted to be a singer. And I didn't do anything. And now I'm old. And she was just talking to the walls. But I felt like she was talking to me. I was like, oh my God. That's so true. And I always wanted to be a performer. But I always thought, I'm never going to have a chance to do that. I come from a humble space. Like, I didn't have even the opportunity to have my dad pay for my rent after I was 18. So how am I going to do this? And now I'm here.
And you don't let nothing discourage you.
I mean, I have ups and downs like everybody.
Absolutely, yeah.
But I get the thing with me, like I get sad and I'll cry maybe for like a day and I feel depressed. And then I get, fuck you. Like, you know what I mean? I'm like, there's like, I don't have time for this shit. I don't have time to be sad. You know, I get like, I have this like range inside of me and I don't know what it is. It's like that hitch that I told you. Like, I just feel like life is too short and I don't have time to be sad or upset about what people think or say. Because this is my life. And when I'm dead, that's what I try to tell my mom. Because she was upset with me being away or just me being alone. And I said, look, when I'm dead and I'm like, oh, I'm going to die. When I'm like on that stage where I know I'm going to die, I'm not going to be thinking, what does Maria think about me? Or what does my aunt thinks about me? First of all, aunts talk shit about everybody. You know, who gives a shit? I'm going to be thinking, am I happy with the life I lived? Did I try my best? You know, did I grow from my mistakes? That's all that matters.
That's deep. At the end of the day, people think they have time.
Yeah.
But they don't.
They don't.
You need to do it now.
Exactly.
And nobody gives a shit. You know, like nobody's going to care. At the end of the day, you're going to be either sitting down, being older and saying, man, maybe I should have done that.
Yeah.
And like for me, regret is it's going to weigh heavy on you.
Exactly.
And I don't want that shit. So I've done things in my life that I'm like, you know what? Am I ready for this? Probably not, but fuck it.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm going to do it anyways.
Have you heard the definition of hell?
The actual definition on the dictionary?
No, like there's a saying about what is the definition of hell.
No.
That the definition of hell is like when you're about to die, you see a movie of what your life could have been. Oh. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want, to me I need to do it.
Yeah. You know, it's funny because I have some friends in high places and like some people are very supportive. Other people, it's like I was with a person this weekend that he's on a huge TV show and he hasn't seen me perform for over a year. Okay. And he was like, and I was telling him about some things that I have coming up. I'm supposed to film a special again in August. And he was like, oh, you cannot be seen too late. You can only be seen too soon. And kept making like, I see that his heart was in a good place, but at the same time, he was a little bit condescending. And I was like, I see that you're in a high because your dream came true, but you haven't seen me perform for a year. So how are you, like, I've been performing, so many things change. I'm not even the same person. So why are you judging me based on what happened a year ago? You know what I mean? If I have an opportunity, I'm going to take it. you know? Like, I'm going to do my best. Of course, I'm not going to be like, oh, I have to shoot a special and I have no material. Let me just stay at home and try write. No, I'm going to find a solution. I'm going to go out there. I'm going to live. I'm going to get stories. I'm going to sit down, write everything down, ask people that I trust their opinion on this, on how can I punch this up. I'm going to make it work. So if you think like that I'm not ready, that's your opinion. I don't give a shit about what you think about me, you know? Because also comedy is subjective. Do you know what I mean? And I cannot be waiting around for somebody else that made it because they were lucky or because they've been doing this for longer than me thinks a certain thing about me. I'm not going to be waiting. I don't want to regret not taking these opportunities because somebody thinks I wasn't ready. You know?
Everybody's always going to have an opinion.
I know.
No matter what. Whether it's good, whether it's bad. But it's their opinion.
Look.
So...
peaches are delicious. There's still a lot of people who don't like peaches, right? Like, I think I'm fucking awesome, and I have a free conscience. And if you don't like me, you have bad taste, and that's all that matters.
We like you.
Yes, thank you. I appreciate that. I like you guys too. Thank you for having me.
And we're gonna go check you out, and we're gonna go support you. And we're really appreciative that you stopped by and
of course, thank you.
Gave us some of your time. I like everything you said at the end.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Because it came from the heart.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about.
We like that.
Fuck yeah.
I just want to make sure that you gave your dates. But you did.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes somebody gets forgets to bring up what they have.
No, this is good. And female women need to see somebody like you in the position that you are in because it gives them more
confidence,
and confidence, you know, because you're pursuing your dreams.
Yeah.
You know what it takes to come from another country and then pursue your dreams here? That takes balls.
Yeah, I got big balls.
You got some big ass balls, girl.
Thank you.
You know what I mean?
I think that, like, not taking from what you're saying, because I agree with that, but I think women are nurturers. Mm-hmm. And also, like, we are raised to be mothers. That's why we have, like, baby dolls and all this stuff, and boys have cars. So there's a date with that, right? It's like, oh, don't you want to be a mom? Like, even our Latin families are always like, don't you want to be a mom? When are you going to give me grandkids? Like, all this stuff. And then we feel this pressure of, like, oh, I don't want to be out of the date. Like, I don't want to expire, right? So we have all this thing, but the truth is it's your body and you get to choose what to do with it. You know, it's
Absolutely.
important to do what you want, because I know a lot of women who are like my mom. She's a sweetheart, but she was always in a bad mood and she's always pissed at everything and everybody. And I think the reason for that is because she gave her life to other people and she became a slave of her own. You know what I mean? Because she wants to please everybody and be the perfect housewife and the perfect mom. And she ends up not being neither because she's not happy, you know? And in order to make other people happy, you need to be happy.
I think you're absolutely right. And I think that's pretty common in the Latino community because I think our moms give everything.
Yeah, they give everything.
They give everything for everybody else, for their kids, for their husbands, for this, for that. And I think that creates it's just at the end, they're probably like, man, what'd I do for me?
Yeah, exactly. That's my mom, actually, she says that. She's like, I do everything for everybody and nobody helps me. I'm like, you put yourself in that situation. Now, I cannot be here and help you because I have things to do. You know what I mean? Wow. And at the same time, I grew up, I had to clean my room. I had to do all of this tours at home. My brother could sit down and watch TV, right? Because he's a man, but I was a woman, so I had to know how to be a woman. Because for my mom to be a woman is know how to clean and how to cook and how to be submissive and how to be all that. I'm like, look at me. Do I look submissive to you? I said to her, I'm going to get a job that I can pay somebody to clean. You know what I mean? That's my goal. But now my brother is 43. He has 2 kids and he's in Portugal and my parents still help them with their bills and they're pissed. I'm like, you enabled that. Because you always did everything for him.
And you're out here making it happen.
I mean, I'm trying. I'm going to eat ramen noodles for the rest of the week, but you know.
Hey, sometimes you got to.
We got to do what we got to do.
I'll eat beans all day, every day
I know.
with rice.
Still got my nails done because
Eat some ramen noodles, but the nails, everything gotta be on point.
You know
because
why?
You gotta.
Because you gotta. What's the word in English? The quote, you guys: dress for the job you want. You know, I want to be successful, so I have to look successful. TJ Maxx, but look, does it look like TJ Maxx? No.
Shit looks like Versace, girl.
There you go.
No, but that's really good, man. You know, there's a lot of, you know, I don't want to say stereotypes. Kind of like, or they feel that women should fit this role, but you should fit the role that's going to make you happy.
Exactly. And I didn't learn about a lot of things because I was raised, if something goes wrong, it's my fault. Or it's because my mom used to be, oh, you have such a difficult personality. And I never questioned that. I was like, okay, so I'll just believe it, right? And then growing up, I didn't realize all these things that, you know, each person is their own, and there's, you know, emotional manipulation and emotional abuse and all these things. I didn't know about those games. But when I start learning about psychology and I start learning and paying attention to how people behave, I was like, oh, she was manipulating me, because if she said that I was hard, I would try to be easy and I would not create boundaries, right? But now if she asked me about, like, she even asked me about my first boyfriend, I'm like, listen, I don't even know if that motherfucker is alive. Like, why you keep asking me about this stuff? And then she's like, what's the problem if I ask? I said, I don't want you to ask. I don't have to give you an answer. That's it.
Wow. Assertive. Sometimes it gets like that.
Yeah.
This is what I wanted to ask you.
Okay.
Do you think that being a flight attendant helped you interact with people, like now that you're a comedian?
It was kind of like acting. It was acting to me. Especially when I had to do the security stuff and I forgot the name.
So you would go with the pamphlets, like, buckle up and do this.
It was really hard. One time, this guy, he looks at me like this and he goes, because I was the first airline I worked for, it was a shitty airline. It was so bad. It was cheap. It was awful.
Was it
but
called
it was
Spirit?
No, it was it was a European one. It was worse than Spirit, but it's the only airline that took people at 18.
Right.
Yeah.
He knows.
It was the
He's
only
been
one.
around.
It was the only one that took people at 18 years old. And I really wanted to travel, but I didn't have the means, so I went to that company. And this guy was looking at me one time, and he's like looking at me like this, and I'm like, "Are you okay?" And he goes, "You're so beautiful, but you're working here, and I don't understand it." And he's just like feeling sorry for me, and I was like, "This is part of my journey." And I just said that out of my mouth, but when I look back, I'm like, "Oh shit, that was part of my journey." You know, I learned so much.
You got to start somewhere.
Yeah.
You know, especially at that young age. What are you supposed to go get an executive position somewhere?
Yeah.
Like, you know, it's like, you know, you can't skip steps. And
Exactly.
I think you doing that probably helped you in ways that you don't even know.
That's true.
You know, it helped you communicate with people. It helped you experience different, it helped you see different things.
Yeah.
Because now you're traveling. So now you weren't just in Portugal. Now I'm sure that they came out here to the United States, and it opened your eyes to see other things. And maybe that's one of the main reasons why you're here and you pursued your career in comedy.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Absolutely. So I think everything happens for a reason. And there's sometimes we think that things are happening to us, but they're really happening for us.
Yeah.
You know, and I apply that in my life. Like, there's some things that I'm like, why? And then it's like, now you look back and then you're like, oh shit.
That makes sense.
That makes
Have you
sense.
ever heard of the butterfly effect?
Yes.
This was like so crazy. So when I was 18, I left my home because I wanted to finish school. And my parents were so pissed. They're like, how the fuck are you going to finish school on yourself and paying rent and doing all this stuff? I was like, I'm going to find a way. So I got a job. I moved to Lisbon by myself. I got a job, and I went to every single school. Every single school said no to me. And then I went to the last one, and this lady was like, look, even if I wanted to put you in the back of the school, in the back of the class, there's no space. Like, I can't put you here. And I started crying. I was like, I really want to finish high school. I don't know what to do. Like, I'm here alone. And I told her, like, my parents said I couldn't make it, but I want to prove I can make them. And I already got a job, but I really want to finish school. And she goes, let me see what I can do. She called me. I got in school. So I was working during the day, and then I would go to school at night. Minus one day of the week, Wednesday. I didn't go to school. I would finish work and go home. I was living in this very bad neighborhood, but I was dumb. Like, I didn't see shit. Like, if I saw girls, like prostitutes, I'll be like, oh my God, why is your dress so sexy? Why are you looking flawless like that with your legs showing like that? I want that confidence. Like, I didn't get it that it was prostitutes and like people like sharing bags of powder, and I'm like, oh, maybe he's out of sugar at home. Like, I don't know. I just really didn't know.
You were super naive.
I was very naive. And I lived in this building. And this building, I had the third floor, and I was paying 250 euros a month for one room. Yeah. And the landlord didn't rent to anybody else, just me, because that was the house where he grew up. And in this building, there was 10 rooms, one single bathroom. There was a toilet in the balcony for some reason. Yeah. And then there was a kitchen and 2 living rooms, but they were all locked, minus the bathroom and the kitchen, of course. And this place was fucking haunted. But anyway, one time I get off work and they were selling, like in Portugal, there's this kiosks where they sell chestnuts wrapped in a newspaper, and they put it in the oven, and it's delicious. And you peel it off and you eat the thing. It's amazing. It smells like autumn just to think about it. And I get off work and I just got paid $500 for the month. And I was like, you know what? Let me treat myself. Let me get some chestnuts. So I get in the line for the chestnuts. I get chestnuts, like 2 euros or whatever. I lost the train home. Now pay attention. I always had the same routine, okay? I always went home on a Wednesday because I didn't have school, okay? And I didn't have money to go out and do stuff, and I didn't have many friends. I had maybe like one boyfriend. That was it at the time. Anyway, so so I lose the train home, and then I had to walk. And I get home, and the door is open, and I see all these people talking, and I look up because they had like stairs like this, and there's all these people like, oh, this is her, and I'm like, and I have like all these chestnuts in my mouth. I look like a chipmunk, and I look up, and they're like, oh, your house was robbed, and I'm like, the fuck? So I go up the stairs, and everything is upside down, like my clothes on the floor, the mattress, everything. I feel gross. I don't know if you ever felt like that once. And everything is upside down, and it's like you can see they were just like looking for stuff. I didn't have anything, not even jewelry, nothing. But they took my computer that had all my homework.
Oh.
Yeah. And then the cops were like, well, did you ever brought anybody here? I said, no, because that's one of the rules. I'm not allowed to bring not even friends, boys, nobody, you know? And he goes, well, whoever came to your house, whoever came here to your room was studying you. So they knew when you were going to be home. And I realized I had big windows that I never closed because you couldn't close it. I had no curtains. I had nothing. So it was just big windows, and somebody was studying me. So if I hadn't bought chestnuts that day, God knows what could have happened to me, you know?
Oh, shit.
Chestnuts saved my life. That's why I like all types of nuts. Walnuts, chestnuts, stick nuts.
Wow. So that little...
Yeah.
That could have been chestnuts. Go get yourself some chestnuts. Shit, it might change. It might change your life, or it might... Everything happens for a reason.
I know.
I think sometimes... I think we were watching Titanic. And you know how they got into the Titanic?
No, I actually don't know.
Like, I think they, well,
That's a fake story.
I know, but it's fake. But
Oh,
I
it's
was
a
just
fake
thinking,
story?
Is it?
Yeah, that never happened.
Oh, in the movie?
Yeah.
Ah, they fucking tricked me, dog.
The Leo character.
Yeah, when they were just playing, and then it was 2 people that they paid for the tickets for them to get into the Titanic.
Oh.
And then like the other 2 were like probably like, damn, I lost. But it's like, dude, you get to be alive. The other 2 got to die, and they're like,
Yeah.
so I don't know. As I felt it was relevant to what we're talking about.
I know, but it makes sense either way
Yeah.
if it's true or not.
Yeah, and sometimes things are not happening to you; they're happening for you.
I know.
And we won't see it till later.
I know.
I bet you see it now. You're like, oh shit, what if? You know, like, what if I wouldn't have bought those chestnuts?
Oh, no.
But we'll never know.
But
Because you're
know,
here.
Exactly. And from now on, every time I want to treat myself, even if I have $50 in my bank account, I'm like, chestnuts. You know?
Go get yourself some chestnuts. Bam.
Treat yourself.
All right. Well, this was pretty good. Anything else you want to add?
I think I talked a lot.
No, that's good. It's good.
Okay.
This is for you
Thank
to
you.
talk.
I
This ain't
appreciate
about
you.
me. This is about you. I want people to know your story, your struggles, your everything. And you're our first, you're representing for the ladies right here
Hell
at True
yeah.
Hustle. And that's what we want. We want other girls to see you and your success and your struggles and what you've been through, and like for them to get inspired. Like, man, I could do it. Yeah. So what if comedy, there's a lot of males? So what?
So what if you don't speak proper English?
So what if
Look
it's,
at me.
You know, bam,
Yeah.
second language, and she speaks Spanish. Cinco al pastor, por favor.
Pero que tú sabes.
See, there you go. So thank you so much for stopping by.
you.
We really appreciate you.
I appreciate you.
And we're going to go to your show.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Thank
So,
you.
Bam.